reconsider, Mr. President, proposed Senate Resolution number 307. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, proposed Senate Resolution 307 is considered.
May we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
Secretary will read the title of the measure without prejudice to inserting into the records the text of the said resolution.
Resolution expressing the sense of the Senate of the Philippines to protect all Filipinos against extraordinary rendition and guarantee them a reasonable time prior to their surrender by or extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the courts in the way of legal remedies.
Mr. President, may we recognize to sponsor the measure. The sponsors are Senator Alan Peter Cayetano and Senator Marcoleta. Our distinguished minority floor leader is not feeling well today, Mr. President. So may we recognize to sponsor the measure Senator Rodante Marcoleta, Mr. President.
Senator Dante Marcoleta is recognized to sponsor the resolution.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise today to sponsor the proposed Senate Resolution number 307, expressing the sense of the Senate to protect all Filipinos against extraordinary rendition and guarantee them a reasonable time prior to their surrender or by extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the courts and avail of legal remedies. At its core, the resolution reaffirms what our Constitution already commands, that sovereignty and due process must never be subordinated to expediency, pressure, convenience, more so political machinations. The rule of law must remain the bedrock of any functioning democracy. As the esteemed political philosopher John Adams once said, a republic is a government of laws, not of men. As is stated in the resolution, the 1987 Constitution guarantees that in all criminal prosecutions, an accused shall be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved, and that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Due process is not a matter of administrative grace, nor can it be reduced to a timetable dictated by urgency, pressure, or political climate. It is a fundamental restraint on power. It affirms that the Philippines, while a responsible member of the international community, remains first and foremost a sovereign state, governed by its constitution. But these principles remain mere words and aspirations, Mr. President, if the authorities in charge, especially in the executive, are the very ones to abandon these fundamental doctrines. Ang tunay na tanong dito, Mr. President, ay simple ngunit mahalaga. May karapatan ba ang bawat Pilipino sa sapat na panahon upang ipagtanggol ang kanilang sarili sa hukuman? Because once surrender is executed, the opportunity for meaningful judicial intervention may become illusory. Courts cannot protect rights retroactively after the person is already beyond reach. Ang hinihingi lang naman natin, Mr. President, ay makatarungan at makatwiran, sapat na panahon upang makalapit sa hukuman at sapat na pagkakataon upang maipagtanggol ang sarili. This is not obstruction, Mr. President. This is not delay for delay's sake. This is the minimum requirement of constitutional fairness. Justice to be legitimate must be both firm and fair. And fairness demands that before the irreversible act of surrender, the Filipino citizen, any Filipino citizen, be allowed to invoke the protection of Philippine courts. This is not a defiance of international law, Mr. President. This is fidelity to the Constitution. Mr. President, the issue before us transcends personalities. It is not solely about former President Rodrigo Duterte, nor is it limited to the present controversy involving the International Criminal Court. What is truly at stake is the enduring protection of every Filipino, his constitutional rights whenever the tentacles of international prosecution touch our domestic sovereignty. This resolution does not obstruct justice. It does not shield wrongdoing. It simply demands that prior to surrender or extradition, a Filipino be given reasonable time to access the courts. Is this not the very essence of due process, Mr. President? Even under our extradition laws involving bilateral treaties, we do not simply hand over individuals overnight. There are hearings, there are remedies, there is judicial scrutiny. Why should surrender to an international tribunal be treated with less caution than extradition to another state? We have on record an existing Article 98 agreement between the Philippines and the United States, entered into force in 2003. This agreement is not obscure, nor it is accidental. It reflects a deliberate policy choice that the surrender of nationals, officials, and personnel to international tribunals of the U.S. is not automatic but conditioned upon state consent and the primacy of domestic jurisdiction. Ginoong Pangulo, sa kontratang ito na pinirmahan natin sa pagitan ng ating bansa at ng Estados Unidos, sa pamagitan ng note verbal, at ito'y nagkaroon ng visa ng 2003, ginagarantiya natin na sino mang American national, official o employee, kahit sino sila na nandito sa ating bansa, ay hindi natin ibibigay automatic sa ICC o kauring mga tribunal kung walang consent ang Amerika. Dito lamang, Mr. President, masusukat natin ang pagpapahalaga natin sa karapatan ng isang mamamayan, Pilipino man o hindi. Kung pwede nating proteksyonan ang mga banyaga na nakatira sa ating bansa at tayo gumarantya sa pamagitan ng ating pakikipagkontrata sa kanila, di ba mas lalong bigyan natin ang pagpapahalaga ang sarili nating mamamayan, Mr. President? Mr. President, the Philippines is willing and able to prosecute crimes for humanity. First, it has criminalized crimes against humanity under Republic Act 9851. The Supreme Court has designated special courts to try cases under this law. It has designed new writs to facilitate investigation, prosecution, such as the writ of amparo and the protection of witnesses and victims. There are government agencies funded and manned to investigate crimes under this law. Isinama pa dito, Ginoong Pangulo, ang Human Rights Commission, ang Department of Justice, at lahat ng mga hukom ay binibigyan po ng panahon na kakailangan nila mag-training sila upang sa ganun maisagawa ang pagpapatupad ng batas na ito na ginawa mismo ng ating legislature. Our willingness and preparedness to prosecute crimes against humanity was recently expressed by the Philippine Permanent Mission to the United Nations in its commentary dated April 12, 2023 on the revision of the definition of crimes against humanity. Mr. President, our government reiterated that under our law, our national law, the Philippines shall exercise jurisdiction over persons, whether military or civilian, suspected or accused, or other crimes against humanity, regardless of where the crime is committed, provided any of the following conditions is met. The accused is our citizen. The accused, regardless of citizenship or residence, is present in the Philippines, and the accused has committed the said crime against a Filipino citizen. Our government also agreed to competent authorities that its competent authorities shall proceed to investigate whenever there is reasonable ground to believe that acts constituting crimes against humanity have been committed in any territory under its jurisdiction. This is a clear assertion of the principle of complementarity that should rule out an extraordinary rendition of a Filipino citizen to the ICC. Mr. President, let me emphasize that our law, Republic Act 9851, acquires primary jurisdiction to crimes against humanity. Preparado po tayo. The last time I checked, the Supreme Court has not made any declaration that it is unwilling or it is incapable or it is unable to hear cases within our country. As a matter of fact, the law is prepared. And all the instrumentalities and agencies concerned in the prosecution and litigation of cases against humanity and similar crimes. Preparado po ang ating bansa, ang ating korte, even our prosecutor services, preparado. Sa makatwid, the primary jurisdiction rests in our country. Complementarity will only come in kung wala na po tayong kakayahan na isagawa ang nararapat para akusahan, ilitigate ang lahat ng mga kasong sinasaad sa ating batas. So, paano po papasok? Bakit po bigla na lamang nakukunin halimbawa ang isang mamamayan natin nang hindi natin ginagawa ang katungkulan sa ilalim ng batas na ginawa natin? Republic Act 9851 has not been repealed so far, Mr. President. It is active. Bakit hindi po ginagamit ito? Bakit meron pong potential threat na dalawa sa ating mga kasama sa institusyong ito, Mr. President? Kaya nga po ang isa rito ay hindi nakapagsasagawa ng kanyang tungkulin sapagkat may dalang takot po dahil magsasagawa ng extrajudicial rendition ang isang korte na kung saan ang kanyang jurisdiction ay hindi na po natin kinikilala, Mr. President. Hindi na po tayo member ng Rome Statute. Pero nakaabang parang sword of Damocles hanging on the heads dito sa mga kasama natin sa chamber na ito, Mr. President. Kung halimbawa, Mr. President, inadapt natin ang resolution na ito, ano ang susunod na hakbang, Mr. President? Halimbawa, nag-issue ng warrant of arrest ang ICC sa isa sa kasama natin dito sa chamber na ito. Ano ang magagawa ng isang resolution, Mr. President? Ang resolution ba will have the effect of notifying all agencies concerned, like the PNP or the DOJ, na magdahan-dahan kayo. Huwag kayong magdalos-dalos. Huwag kayong padalos-dalos kasi nagsalita na ang Senado. The sense of the Senate has been declared na ayaw natin na kailangang panagutan muna ang ating saligang batas, ang umiiral na batas tungkol dito, na ang primary jurisdiction ay ating bansa. Papasok lamang ang ICC o kung sino man under the doctrine of complementarity. Hindi kailanman papasok, Mr. President, dahil nga ang ating mga hukuman, ang ating mga piskalya ay handa at willing and able to do their functions. So paano magkakaroon ng puwang na mag-i-issue ang isang banyagang tribunal at pagkatapos ay hindi natin kikilalanin ang sariling batas na tayo mismo ang gumawa, Mr. President? Ito po ang, siguro pwede natin sabing, the ironies of all ironies. Tayo na po ang gumawa ng batas para parusahan natin ang sino man, national man natin o hindi national na residente sa ating bansa. Pagkatapos ay papasok ang isang banyagang tribunal na wala ng karapatan sapagkat wala na nga tayo sa Rome Statute. Ito ang mga katanungan, Mr. President, na dapat magkaroon po ng kasagutan sa lalong madaling panahon. Nararamdaman ko po ang nararamdaman ng mga kasama natin. Huwag na po tayong magbulag-bulagan, Mr. President. Alam natin, kung tayo po ang nasa kanilang kalagayan, nakikita rin po siguro natin ang takot na namamayani sa ating kalooban. Hindi po maganda yon, Mr. President. Kaya po kailangan nating sigurong pagsikapan, ayusin ang mga bagay na may kinalaman sa problemang ito para sa ganon matiwasay nating magawa ang ating mga gawain at sagutin sa ating mamayan. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Sino gusto mag-sponsor? May we recognize our distinguished colleague, Mr. President, Senator Amy Marcos.
Senator Amy Marcos is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Majority Leader. Esteemed colleagues of the Philippine Senate, good afternoon. I rise to co-sponsor with Senator Marcoleta and Senator Cayetano the proposed Senate Resolution 307 entitled Resolution Expressing the Sense of the Senate of the Philippines to Protect All Filipinos Against Extraordinary Rendition and Guarantee Them a Reasonable Time prior to their surrender by or extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the courts and avail of legal remedies. Ang hustisya na ipinapataw ng dayuhan ay hindi hustisya. Ito ang pagpapahiya. Ito ay pang-aalipin. At mga kababayan ko, hindi tayo alipin. Tayo ay Pilipino. At kung Pilipino ka, hindi ka susuko at hindi mo isusuko ang kapwa mong Pilipino, hindi mo isusuko ang iyong pagiging Pilipino. Almost 1 year ago, on that fateful day of 11 March 2025, the Philippine government, acting in coordination with the International Criminal Court, a tribunal whose jurisdiction the Philippines has long and consistently denied, caused the arrest of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte without a warrant issued by any Philippine court. Not content with effecting that arrest, absent any local judicial authority, the government then transported him to The Hague, thereby completing what can only be described as an extrajudicial rendition. Ganito ang nangyari kay Rodrigo Duterte sa kamay ng mga dayuhan na para bang wala siyang sariling bayan, na para bang wala tayong kakayahang humusga sa sarili nating bansa. Mga kababayan, kung may anak kang nasa panganib, ipapasa mo ba siya sa kamay ng iba? Kung may kaibigan kang pinararatangan, hahayaan mo bang ibang tao ang humusga sa kanya habang nakatali ang kanyang kamay at wala siyang laban? Kung ang iyong ama, matanda na at may sakit, ay kinakaladkad palabas ng inyong sariling tahanan, manonood ka na lang ba at walang gagawin? Today, we are confronted with the prospect that the same course of action may once again be undertaken. If we are to remain faithful to our oath to preserve and defend the Constitution, we cannot allow this to pass without clarity, without principle, without constitutional fidelity. During the 19th Congress, your Senate Committee on Foreign Relations conducted extensive hearings into the executive's actions. From the testimony of respected and constitutional authorities, including retired Supreme Court Justice Adolfo Ascuna, a member and author of the 1987 Constitutional Commission, and the constitutional law scholar, Attorney Alexis Medina, two propositions emerged with unmistakable clarity. First, the judicial intervention by Philippine courts is indispensable before the government may arrest a Filipino citizen within our territory and transport him to another jurisdiction. Second, any Filipino citizen arrested in this country without local judicial proceedings retains the right to seek redress before Philippine courts. These are not technicalities. These are constitutional imperatives repeated time and again. And no degree of legal engineering, of semantic maneuvering, or strained interpretation should be permitted to circumvent these constitutional guarantees. During the committee hearing on the 20th of March 2025, Attorney Medina clarified that the term surrender under Section 17 of RA 9851 applies only in two instances. First, when the person to be arrested has already voluntarily surrendered to the custody of the national government, thereby negating the need for extradition proceedings. And second, the person to be arrested is an alien, in which case what will be involved is only a deportation process which does not involve any court proceedings at all. Outside of these very narrowly defined instances, the arrest and transfer of a person to a foreign jurisdiction without local court proceedings would not be sanctioned by our Constitution. For our 1987 Constitution is unequivocal. Article 3, Section 2 of the Bill of Rights provides, no warrant of arrest shall issue except upon probable cause to be personally determined by the judge after determination under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce. The judge contemplated by the Constitution can only be a Philippine judge. Article 8, Section 1 vests judicial power in one single Supreme Court and in such lower courts as may be established by law. The International Criminal Court is not such lower court established by Philippine law. For one, no Philippine statute created the ICC. For another, if the ICC were indeed a lower court, then it clearly means that the Supreme Court can reverse or nullify its decisions and even discipline its judges. The Supreme Court can do neither. Moreover, assuming arguendo that the ICC warrant could be issued domestically without prior judicial action, Article 59(2) of the Rome Statute itself requires that the arrested person be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority of the custodial state. Paragraph 3 further grants the person the right to apply for interim relief before that self-same authority. As Justice Escuna testified during the committee hearing of 10 April 2025, the failure of Philippine authorities to bring the arrested individual before the local courts constitute a violation of Article 59. And as emphasized within our own legal system, there will be consequences for that violation. There is therefore no gray area whatsoever here, no ambiguity, no room for creative interpretation, much less construction. Only Philippine courts may issue a constitutionally valid warrant of arrest enforceable within our jurisdiction, and any person deprived of liberty within Philippine territory without such judicial authority has the right to seek redress before our courts, whether that person be a private citizen, a former president, or a senator. To insist otherwise would reduce the guarantees of our Bill of Rights to mere parchment and would erode the judicial power solemnly vested by the Constitution upon the Philippine judiciary alone. Sabi nila, batas ang dapat manaig. Tama, the law must prevail. But whose law? Our law or theirs? Since when did the Philippines become a province of The Hague? Tayo ba ay isang bansa na may sariling batas? O isa na lang tayong alipin na naghihintay ng utos? Kung kaya nilang gawin ito sa isang dating Pangulo, kaya rin nilang gawin ito sa sino man sa atin. If they can march into our homes, grab hold of our family, and drag them before their courts, when will they stop, and how will they be stopped from doing it again? What stops them from doing it to you, to me, to any one of us? For these reasons, I respectfully and urgently endorse the immediate adoption of our Resolution 307. Thank you and good day to all my colleagues. Thank you.
Salamat po sa good gentlewoman from Ilocos Norte. Next to sponsor the resolution, Mr. President, Senator Jinggoy Estrada.
Senator Jinggoy Estrada is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, please allow this representation to co-sponsor proposed Senate Resolution number 307, expressing the sense of the Senate of the Philippines to protect all Filipinos against extraordinary rendition and guarantee them a reasonable time prior to their surrender or extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the local courts and avail of legal remedies. The most fundamental principle of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, as contained in the Bill of Rights, is very clear. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. Malinaw din ang nakasaad sa ating saligang batas na ang bawat akusado ay may likas na karapatan sa due process at sa presumption of innocence hanggang mapatunayan kung meron nga silang pagkakasala sa batas. Hindi natin maaaring isantabi ang ating sariling mga korte at ang soberanya ng ating bansa sa harap ng anumang international na proseso. Filipinos should be tried in competent Philippine courts. Karapatan nilang madinig ang kanilang panig kahit ano pa ang inaakusa sa kanila. Naniniwala ako na patuloy na gumagana at matibay pa rin ang pundasyon ng ating justice system at matitiyak na dadaan sa tamang proseso ang lahat, alinsunod sa mga umiiral na batas. Ang resolusyong ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga kasamahan nating senador na pinangalanan sa mga kaso sa ICC, kundi para sa lahat ng Filipino na maaaring maharap sa ganitong sitwasyon. Ang bawat mamamayan ay dapat bigyan ng pagkakataon upang makapaghain ng legal na remedyo sa ating mga lokal na hukuman bago sila isuko o i-extradite. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Majority Leader.
Salamat po sa good gentleman mula sa San Juan. Next to co-sponsor, proposed Senate Resolution 307, Mr. President, Senator Christopher Bongo.
Senator Christopher Bongo is recognized.
Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, I rise to express my support and to co-sponsor the Senate resolution expressing the sense of the Senate to protect all Filipinos against extraordinary rendition and guarantee them a reasonable time prior to their surrender by or extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the courts and avail of legal remedies. The very core of this resolution is a simple but powerful principle. No Filipino should be deprived of liberty without due process of law. This is not merely a legal or procedural technicality, but a constitutional guarantee enshrined in our fundamental law. Mr. President, let me address this matter with full transparency. I have always believed in the due process of the law. This resolution may appear to intersect with my personal circumstances, and I do not shy away from that reality. But precisely because of that reality, I speak today and support this resolution not merely as a legislator, but as a Filipino who believes deeply in the protections guaranteed by our Constitution. This resolution is not crafted to serve any individual. It is not a shield for the powerful, nor it is a refuge for the guilty. It is a reaffirmation that every Filipino, ordinary citizen or public official, karaniwang mamamayan man o nasa pwesto, stands equal before the law under its protection. Wala naman sigurong Pilipino ang ayaw magtrabaho o umiwas sa tungkulin Sino bang ayaw magtrabaho? Ang gusto lang natin ay makasiguro na ang bawat Pilipino ay protektado at lahat ay dumaan sa due process. Ako po mismo, tinatanong nila. Ako naman po yung nagtatrabaho, Lunes hanggang Linggo po. At hindi ko po matiis na nakaupo lamang dito sa malamig na opisina habang mga kababayan natin nangangailangan po ng tulong. At yan naman po ang aking sinumpaang tungkulin. Kahit saang sulok kayo ng Pilipinas, bagyo, baha, putok ng bulkan, sunog, lindol, pinupuntahan ko lang lahat mga lugar na yan. Basta kaya lang po ng aking katawan at panahon. Dahil bisyo ko po magserbisyo sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino at naniniwala po ako na ang serbisyo po sa tao ay serbisyo po yan sa Panginoong Diyos. At kahit po yung isa kong kasamahan dito sa Senado na si Senator Bato de la Rosa, ay isa rin po sa mga masisipag nating senador na gusto rin pong makapagtrabaho lang po ng maayos. Further, Mr. President, as we speak today, this issue goes beyond the proceedings before the International Criminal Court. This is not merely about one case or one individual. The principle at stake applies to any foreign entity, tribunal, or international body that seeks to exercise jurisdiction over a Filipino citizen. Hindi lamang po ito nakapaloob sa proceedings ng ICC. The same standard must apply to any foreign tribunal or authority issuing orders that may result in the transfer of a Filipino to another country for investigation or prosecution. Before any Filipino is brought outside our jurisdiction and subjected to foreign processes, there must be first strict compliance with our Constitution, our laws, and the fundamental requirement of due process. Bakit natin papayagan na manghimasok ang foreign tribunal without passing through local courts? Huwag naman sana po tayong pumayag ng ganon. Last year, the Supreme Court released rules on extradition proceedings. Naglabas po sila last year. I think naging effectivity noon ay November 10. However, may mga nagsasabi na applicable lang po ito sa state-to-state request for extradition. Kaya hanggang ngayon, parang may gray area po dyan. Sana po'y once and for all, masettle na po ito ng Supreme Court, Mr. President. Co-equal branches nga po ang tawag sa atin dito. Executive, legislative, and judiciary. At posibleng kung sakali, ay ang executive ang mag-i-implement. At posibleng sakali, legislative po ang matatamaan. So once and for all, sana po matuldukan na po ito ng judiciary. Sila naman po ang final arbiter at makakapag-desisyon yan. Mr. President, I reiterate that this resolution does not obstruct justice. It strengthens it. It does not defy international cooperation. It ensures that such cooperation operates within constitutional bounds. The Philippines can honor its international obligations whilst still safeguarding the fundamental rights of its people. At the end of the day, I still believe that the true test of our commitment to justice is how we treat the favored, but ulitin ko lang po, at the end of the day, I still believe that the true test of our commitment to justice is not how we treat the favored, but how we protect the rights of those under accusation. Nakikiusap po ako sa mga kasamahan natin dito sa Senado, proteksyonan po natin ang ating ang institusyon. And I urge this chamber to stand firm in defense of due process and to adopt this resolution in the name of constitutional fidelity and equal protection for all. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Maraming salamat din po, Mr. President, sa good gentleman mula sa Davao. Mr. President, Senator Robin Hood Padilla wishes that his co-sponsorship speech for the resolution be inserted for the record. Oh, I'm so sorry.
If there is no objection, it's so inserted into the records.
Just to make of record, Mr. President, there was an indication from the good gentleman mula po sa Camarines Norte na baka mas gusto nilang ma-deliver yung kanilang co-sponsorship speech. I withdraw my earlier motion.
Then
Mr.
we recognize
President.
Senator Robin Padilla.
Salamat po, Mr.
Maraming
President.
salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, at sa ating pinunong mayorya, sa ating pong kasama, Senator Risa Ontiveros. Ako po naman ay gusto ko lamang pong magbigay ng maiksing manifestasyon sapagkat napakabigat po para sa akin. Narinig ko na po ang mga sinabi ng aking kaibigan, Senator Marcoleta at Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Bongo. Nagbigay po sila ng mga halimbawa ng usaping legal. Ang akin pong punto ay usapin ng patungkol sa ating pagmamahal sa ating kalayaan at kasarinlan, kasaysayan. Napakasakit po para sa atin, mga Pilipino, na namnamin natin na meron po tayong mga kababayan na nasa ibang bansa at doon dumadaan sa isang paglilitis. Nililitis ng dayuhan. Napakasakit pong mapanood. Hindi ko nga kayang panoorin na meron isang huwes, merong mga abogadong prosecutor, iba't ibang lahi, na kababayan natin ang gusto nilang bigyan ng paghuhusga. Ang akin pong hiling, ako naman isang ayon, meron tayong mga treaties. Totoo po yan. Bahagi tayo ng pandaigdigang komunidad. Ngunit ang pakikipagtulungan sa ibang bansa ay hindi dapat nangangahulugan ng pagsuko ng ating sariling jurisdiksyon at pagtalikod po sa ating mga korte. Dahil ang mga korte na yan, yan ang simbolo ng ating kalayaan eh. Pinaglaban po yan ng ating mga bayani. At tayo nandito, tayo po'y may Senado ngayon sapagkat ipinaglaban po ng ating mga bayani yung ating kalayaan na husgahan ang ating mga sarili. Kaya, pakiusap ko sa aking mga kasama, bagamat wala silang karamihan ngayon dito. Alam ko naman na nanonood sila. Ang iba naman ay nakausap ko na at sila ay naniniwala na dapat ay dumaan sa korte natin ang sino man, hindi lamang po mga kasama natin dito, kundi lahat ng mga Pilipino na kapag gustong dalin sa ibang bansa ay dumaan muna sa korte natin. Ako ay nakikiusap sa ating mga kasama na magnilay-nilay. Kung meron po tayo dapat na paniwalaang maghuhusga sa mga kasama natin, ay dapat ay Pilipino rin. Huwag po tayong pumayag na isang dayuhan muli ang magmukhang mas mataas sa atin. Dahil yan po ay hindi papayag ang ating mga bayani sapagkat ipinaglaban nila yan na tayo'y kapantay ng mga dayuhan. Hindi tayo kailanman sasailalim sa kanilang sinasabing katalinuhan o sa kanilang panghuhusga. Kaya po mga kasama, ang sinasabi po natin, bago po sana natin isuko ang isang Pilipino sa ibang jurisdiction, tiyakin muna po natin na mabigyan siya ng sapat na panahon at pagkakataon upang dumulog sa sariling korte ng kanyang bayan. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Majority Leader.
Maraming salamat, mahal na Pangulo. With that, there will be one more sponsor, or there will be few of our colleagues will sponsor the measure, like our distinguished minority floor leader, but they requested if he can sponsor it tomorrow, Mr. President. So with that, I move to suspend consideration of the same. Of the measure.
Objection. Hearing na consideration of the measure suspended.
Move that we resume consideration of proposed Senate Resolution number 307. I so move, Mr. President.
Sorry,
307.
307. Any objection? Hearing none. Consideration of TS Resolution 307 is in order. What is the parliamentary status, Mr. Majority Leader?
We're still in the period of sponsorship, Mr. President, and the main sponsor of the measure, he was, of course, because of his acidity, couldn't make it yesterday. We will recognize a distinguished minority floor leader to sponsor the measure, Mr. President.
All right. The Minority Leader, Senator Alan Cayetano, has the floor. You may proceed.
Magandang hapon, Mr. Majority Leader, Mr. Senate President. Naintindihan niyo naman siguro yung take two, so thank you for this opportunity. Let me start with a biblical principle. Kung anong ating itatanim, yan ang ating aanihin. So 40 years ago, one of the issues that led our people to the first peaceful revolution in the world was the fear of people that they can be arrested anytime, anywhere, in the middle of the night in their own homes, with a warrant that wasn't issued by a judicial authority or the arbitrariness. This isn't peculiar or hindi to pang Pilipino lang. Actually, all throughout history, during the times that the monarchy ruled the UK and France, that is also the same reason why you have parliamentary immunity. Because if the monarchy did not want a member of parliament to speak on a certain topic, baka biglang arestuhin. So over hundreds of years, na-develop ang check and balance of how the state will be empowered to arrest a person or search his person or his household or his business, while also protecting his basic right, his right to liberty, life and property, that cannot be deprived without due process of law. 40 years later, or 39 years later, last year, we faced this issue, but now because the world is now a global city, dahil interconnected na, nag-evolve na po ito. So when the former president was issued a warrant of arrest from the ICC, the executive, as explained by several of their officials of the executive department, as explained by several cabinet members, used the Section 17 of RA 9851, which is to surrender. So, this is not actually the topic directly of this resolution because this resolution is prospective. This resolution deals with all Filipinos from the time that we give our sense or we express or communicate, articulate the sense of the Senate, that under our Constitution, it's very clear, Section 2, Article 3, 1987 Constitution, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, and papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures of whatever nature, and for any purpose shall be inviolable. And no search warrant or warrant of arrest shall issue except upon probable cause to be determined personally by the judge after examination under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. So, simple po, two parts po ito. Unreasonable search and seizure, inviolable, bawal. So, when is it not unreasonable? When a search warrant or a warrant of arrest is issued. And when can this be issued? One, only by a judge. And two, after that judge does examination under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce. I will not go to all of the jurisprudence because medyo rich na to, but all the lawyers in this hall and listening to us would agree that hindi ito simpleng bagay sa na inatas sa judge. All the jurisprudence will say that the judge has to personally determine. He has to look at the evidence. He has to examine it and believe that there is in fact probable cause. And probable cause again in two aspects. That there is a probability that the crime he is accused of was committed, and secondly, the probability that the accused, he himself or she himself, committed that crime. Now comes the problem. When you have an international warrant of arrest. So we have several treaties that deals with, excuse me, sir, that deals with extradition. Diyan medyo klaro. Bakit? Nakalagay dito, transmittal, then yung arrest nung Pilipino, pero katulad po na nakita natin kay Congressman Jimenez, hindi po ba, na may proseso yung extradition, yung warrant of arrest, dadaan sa mga korte natin, and available ang korte sa kahit sinong Pilipino na naghahanap ng remedy doon. So ang problema po natin, ang interpretation ngayon ng Executive Department sa Section 17, RA 9851, ay basta't na lang pwedeng ibigay or ipadala. At kung sila'y nagmamadali o medyo paspas at isakay na sa eroplano, walang reasonable time na tumakbo sa korte. If you look at exactly the same situation in the United Kingdom, tignan nyo po sa United Kingdom, kapag ka po arrest procedure, ICC request for arrest submitted to the Secretary of State. Transmittal of the ICC request by the Secretary of State to the appropriate judicial officer. The appropriate judicial officer to issue a warrant of arrest, provisional warrant, arrest by domestic law, the arrested person shall be brought before a competent court as soon as possible. And as arrested person may apply for bail. Tignan nyo po dun sa surrender. Sa UK po, pag sinurrender, the competent court shall issue a delivery order for the arrested person to be delivered to the custody of ICC. In deciding to issue a delivery order, the court shall consider, among others, the person was lawfully arrested in pursuance of the warrant and whether his rights has been respected. So take note, Mr. President, dear colleagues, parating tinitignan yung karapatan ng akusado. The arrest person may ask for a review of the delivery order to waive his right to such a review. An arrested person may consent to be delivered up to into the custody of ICC. So kung ayaw niya pumunta na ng korte at siya sinusurrender niya sarili niya, pwede po. Then the competent court may refuse to make a delivery order and demand the person arrested notifying the Secretary of State of its decision and grounds therefore. So meron pong article, not sure if it's Business World, from a LaSalle professor that is, sorry, but it's not only kulang sa knowledge, but it's fake news na sinabi niya na maapektuhan yung ating international standing. Hindi po. Kahit tignan nyo po sa ICC, nakalagay po doon na complementary. Even the first president of ICC, Judge Kirsch, no? Explain kung bakit to complementary, di ba? Dahil nga involved ang judicial authorities nung local or yung bansang yon, no? So, ito po ang sinabi po ni Judge Kirsch. The statute of the ICC is a two-pillar system, a judicial pillar represented by the court and enforcement pillar represented by the states, which undertake a legal obligation to cooperate with the court through statute. Indeed, the ICC's enforcement regime and its practical application constitute an essential part of any evaluation of ICC's legitimacy. So, Mr. President, if you look at another country, Canada, pagka-arrest procedure, the ICC request for arrest is transmitted to the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice will authorize the Attorney General to apply for a provisional arrest warrant. The Attorney General will apply ex parte for a provisional arrest warrant before a judge. The judge will issue a warrant if the application meets prescribed criteria. The arrest warrant is executed by domestic law enforcement. The person arrested under provisional warrant may be granted provisional liberty based on judicial interim release order. Mr. President, what about surrender? In case of surrender, the minister may, after receiving a request for extradition and being satisfied that all conditions are met, issue an authority to proceed to the Attorney General to seek on behalf of the extradition partner a court order for committal of a person. Note, a person may at any time after the issuance of an authority to proceed consent in writing before a judge to a committal. So walang problema po pag pumayag yung tao. But the judge shall, on receipt of authority to proceed from the Attorney General, hold an extradition hearing. Due process, Mr. President. Diba? Even si Eva at Adan nung kinain ni Eva yung forbidden fruit, tapos pinakain niya kay Adan, alam naman ng Panginoon na kinain nila to, but ano sinabi sa kanila? Adam and Eve. Diba? Why are you hiding? So if you read Genesis, nandyan yung essence ng due process, tatanungin mo muna. Because there might be issues that we do not know and will become moot and academic if you just put a Filipino on a plane and send him abroad. I mean, all of us here agree. Pagdating sa West Philippine Sea, not a single inch of territory, hindi natin pamimigay. Atin ito. Sana naman po, pagdating sa kapwa Pilipino, ganun din. Atin to. Kababayan natin to. Tao to. No? Hindi dapat basta't sinosurrender sa kahit sabihin mong meron po tayong treaty. At pag tinignan mo po yung treaty na yun mismo, nire-recognize ang ating judicial authorities. Baka sabihin po natin, well, Canada at UK yan. Well, ang sagot ko po doon, bakit po ibaba ang rules pag Amerika, pag UK, pag Canada? So let's go to a somewhere nearer, South Korea. Sa South Korea po, the ICC makes a request for extradition to the Korean Minister of Foreign Affairs to diplomatic channels. The Minister of Justice reviews whether the extradition request complies with the act of the extradition treaty and may either order the Chief Prosecutor of Seoul High Prosecutor's Office to assign a prosecutor to request the court's judicial review on the extradition, or choose not to order the request based on grounds to refuse extradition or other reasons minister considers appropriate to refuse extradition. Hindi ko na po babasahin dahil medyo mahaba, pero yung essence po ay nasa judicial authorities pa rin nila. Ganun din po sa surrender. Based on the court order, the Minister of Justice may make the final decision to release or extradite the requested person. So, Mr. President, ano po gagawin natin lahat kung bukas, February 26, ang headline sa lahat ng dyaryo natin, 25 PNP generals, 25 AFP generals, members of the Communist Party of the Philippines, several media practitioners and editors, several congressmen, senators, cabinet members, God forbid, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, ay na-issuean ng ICC. And bigla na lang kukunin, isasakay sa aeroplano. And sasabihin nyo, sir, hindi, umalis na kasi tayo sa Rome Statute. Hindi po. During the time na valid ang Rome Statute, nagkaroon po tayo niyan ng communist insurgency. So although the last few decades wala tayong nababalitaan na mass grave, paano kung biglang may magpakita na may mass grave dyan at tinuro yung iba sa kanila? Pwede na lang silang damputin at dalhin sa Hague? O paano yung Marawi? Paano kung meron na video na dun sa bombahan. Tapos sinabi civilian to, hindi ito military target. Hindi nila pinakita na may nagtatagong mga rebelde dun sa school na yon, na bomba yung school na yon. Nag-issue yung ICC. Papayag tayong arestuhin na lang basta-basta ang ating mga men and women in uniform, ang ating mga senador, ang ating congressmen? What if the President of the Republic of the Philippines today was Senator Bato or Senator Bongo? And then naglabas ngayon. Pwede na lang silang damputin na lang. They cannot go to court. Mr. President, nakakalimutan po ng marami na tumutulig sa stand ng mga na to go to court first is that sovereignty is an essential part of international relations and international law. Pag sinabi natin general accepted principles of international law, kasama po doon ang pagrespeto sa sovereignty. Ang problema po ng Pilipino ay problema ng Pilipino. Pero yes, may mga crimes against humanity na problema ng buong mundo. Pero mismong Rome Statute ang nagsasabing, sandali lang, kung ginawa sa Pilipinas yan at kaya nyo sa Pilipinas, sa inyo muna. But again, Mr. President, hindi po yan ang substance ng resolution na to. Hindi po si dating Pangulong Duterte na ngayon na po ay gumugulong na po at meron confirmation of charges. Hindi rin pinag-uusapan po dito whether or not we should join or rejoin the ICC. Ang pinag-uusapan dito ay simple. Issue 40 years ago, issue din po ngayon. Pag may biglang aarestuhin, kailangan yung arestuhin na yon ay may pagkakataon pumunta sa Philippine courts to seek remedy. If you look at the Convention on Human Rights? The International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, nandun din po to. So it's part of the generally accepted principles of international law. So Mr. President, let me just say it one more time because I know we have a lot of strong feelings about the drug war, about the hearing, clear yung issues ng both sides. Hindi po yun ang nilalaman ng resolution na to. Ang nilalaman ng resolution to, simple lang. Pag may warrant na hindi issued by a Philippine judge, kailangan po dumaan sa korte yan, kung hindi unconstitutional yan. At kailangan ang bawat Pilipino na may tanong at nagsisik ng remedy ay pwedeng makapunta sa korte ng ating inang bayan. So thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Majority Leader. And if there are any interpellations, I'll be more than happy to try to answer our colleagues' questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, those who listed to interpolate are Senator Bangfton Lacson, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Bam Aquino, and the Senate President. But I believe they're asking if they can do it on Monday when there are more people, I think.
I always ask the same thing, so I'm not in a position to say no. But but just because because I made the Senate President laugh anyway today. But if we can do it on Monday, better, just because of the urgency of the matter.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll put it back on the agenda on Monday. We commit to the good.
My interpellations is very simple. It's about wordings, but let's do it on Monday after I listen to the other interpellators.
It'll be a
Thank you, sir.
privilege, Mr. President.
Thank you.
po.
Thank you very much, sir, Minority Floor Leader. Mr. President, I move that we suspend consideration of the measure.
Consideration of the measure is suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consider proposed Senate Resolution number 307. I so move, Mr. President.
The consideration of Senate Resolution 307 is in order.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, may we recognize the sponsor, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, and to interpolate our distinguished colleague, Senator Panfilo, the Senate President Pro Tem, Panfilo Ping Lacson.
To sponsor the resolution, the Minority Leader, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, is recognized, and to interpolate the Senate President Pro Tempore, Senator Ping Lacson.
Thank you, Madam Senate President. It'll be a privilege to answer questions from the very important Pro Temp VIP.
This is more of a manifestation of support rather than interpellation. However, Mr. President, with the permission of the distinguished Minority Leader, I would like to be clarified first on the definition of extraordinary rendition. How would you define in your own terms, extraordinary rendition. Medyo matapang lang po, natatapangan ako doon sa extraordinary rendition. At the proper time, maybe I can introduce some amendments to just soften the language used.
Actually, Mr. President, I had the same reaction when my staff showed me the draft because some of them have exposure in international law. So vis-a-vis ordinary rendition. So ordinarily, a local court issues the warrant, and then if there's an extradition request, then based on the extradition request, it's given to a local court. The local court will then issue its arrest warrant and then would allow the extradition. But for countries who allows extraordinary rendition, so some countries do not allow. For example, Venezuela, pero kinuha pa rin yung leader nila. So I think that was the intent to just emphasize that if it's not an extradition request, it will be a extraordinary rendition of arresting and what's the better word of exporting or of extraditing a Filipino.
Yeah, I have a definition of extraordinary rendition. Refers to the transfer of a person, usually a suspected terrorist or criminal, from one country to another without formal legal procedures, often to a country where the person may be interrogated outside normal judicial safeguards. So it's quite strong, Mr. President.
Yes.
And if we're dealing with the ICC, I don't think the proper terms or any country that we have extradition treaty with, mukhang I think we should change the language from extraordinary rendition to another.
Yeah. Just to explain, Mr. President, and then I have no objection to changing it. It is really used by defense lawyers, not only in the ICC, but other courts, when someone is taken from their country and brought to the international courts without first passing the local courts. But as you said, Mr. President, it's not only kasi may connotation by
Yes.
denotation. So I would be amendable to protect all Filipinos from extradition, but extradition in the general sense, not in the extradition defined in our law vis-a-vis. The complication here, Mr.
Why
President.
not just use rendition? Because rendition simply means handing over a suspect to another jurisdiction, whether it's another country or an international court. I remember, Mr. President, in the Anti-Terrorism Act which I sponsored, there's a provision there prohibiting extraordinary rendition because we are referring to a terrorist. Kasi ang connotation, pagka sinabing extraordinary rendition, parang kinindap ng CIA, tas dadalhin sa kanila para interrogate
Yes.
without going through the normal judicial processes.
Point is well taken, and I see. Mr. President, would the term extrajudicial rendition be acceptable? Because basically, the point of the resolution is that kung sumama kusa yung in-extradite, no problem. Pero kung tingin niya dapat punta siya sa korte, hindi dapat extrajudicial, dapat may judicial process. So would
Correct.
extrajudicial rendition
As in the case of the former president.
I'm amendable to taking out that paragraph because I want to look at this prospectively. I think there will be some political color if we talk about what happened in the past. And besides, Mr. President, that case is with the Supreme Court. So the bottom line of this resolution is that if for whatever reason, a mistaken identity, sinasabi ng tao, hindi ako yan, sinasabi ng tao, he's innocent or wala tayong treaty doon, he can run to court before he is removed from the country. Yun lang naman po.
Thank you,
ang
Mr.
intention,
President. Maybe we can use extrajudicial rendition because if if the person arrested by the custodial state will not go through the local court, no? At least for authenticity. My next question, Mr. President, is: are you familiar with the Article 59 of the Rome Statute?
Yes, Mr. President.
It's very clear here, no?
In
I'll just read for the record some of the salient provisions here. No?
kailangan domestic.
Number one, a state party which has received a request for provisional arrest or for arrest and surrender shall immediately take steps to arrest the person. That's a given. You know? Number two, a person arrested shall be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority in the custodial state, which shall determine in accordance with the law of that state that the warrant applies to that person, the person has been arrested in accordance with the proper process, and the person's rights have been respected. No? Meron pa nga rito na the person arrested shall have the right to apply to the competent authority in the custodial state for interim release. Pwede pa nga mag-request ng interim release eh. But of course, pag ginrant yung interim release, the custodial state will have to inform the ICC or the International Court. So it's very clear even in the Rome Statute na hindi pwede yung basta pagka-aresto, diretso sa aeroplano para i-deliver.
Yes.
And it's the Rome Statute. It's
I agree with your interpretation, Mr. President. Not only as a senator but as the former chief PNP. Ang point ko lang kasi dito, Mr. President, in the previous constitutions, the Constitution allowed other authorities to issue warrant of arrest. But in the 87 Constitution, it's very clear, it's only a judge. And kailangan may personal
Knowledge.
examination.
Yeah, personal examination.
So, if you look at the ICC comprehensively and of course Article 59, ang keyword dyan is complementarity eh. Dapat nagko-complement yung dalawa. So, if you look at UK, Canada, South Korea, for example, Mr. President, Argentina, Paraguay, South Africa, all of them have provisions, whether it's arrest to extradition or whether it's surrender, it gives the individual being arrested an opportunity to run to their local courts. Eh. So,
I agree. I completely agree, Mr. President, because it is an utter disrespect to the local court or local authorities to just, without passing through the normal judicial process here, at least for authentication, for verification, the person that has been issued the warrant of arrest will just be brought out of the country. So, but some legal experts are invoking RA 9851, yung sa Crimes Against Humanity. And mind you, Section 17, malinaw din po rito na hindi naman po mandatory. Hindi ito yung kailangan pagka nahuli, kailangan i-turn over. Kasi hindi po siya lang ginamit eh. In the interest of justice, the relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal is already conducting them. That's another matter. Ano? Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state pursuant to the applicable not applicable here, no, the extradition, because we're not dealing here with the extradition. So, hindi naman po mandatorily expressed, no, or hindi mandatory yung sinasabi ng 9851 na i-turn over.
well, Mr. President, 2 points. One, in the Pangilinan versus Cayetano case, it was made very clear that
Who's that Cayetano, Mr. President?
I was Secretary of Foreign Affairs at that time. So my name was by the process of the Supreme Court. But actually yung Solgen naman po ang nag-file talaga ng legal arguments, Mr. President. And then, of course, it was Senator Kiko Pangilinan. So, of course, the main issue was whether or not the President can get out of a treaty without concurrence of the Senate. But meron pong discussion doon na sinasabi na ang treaty kailangan complies with the Constitution. So any treaty, for example, Mr. President, that says that anyone can arrest anyone but hindi dadaan sa judge, that's unconstitutional. So if you look at all other countries, ine-emphasize nila yung constitution din nila. And if you look at the Rome Statute, wala namang conflict po eh. Sinasabi din ng Rome conflict nandun eh. Secondly, Mr. President, of course, we entered the Rome Statute and the ICC, we ratified it after we passed this law. Eh. So, meaning even assuming you can surrender someone, that doesn't mean that he cannot go to the judge and question whether... So for example, Mr. President, hinuli si Joel Villanueva pero sinabi si Win Gatchalian siya.
Yes.
I mean, it might be funny to us and we might know the difference between the two gentlemen. Minsan yung media nagkakamali. But what if you had actual twins, di ba? Si Alan Tan and Ping Tan, and ang hinuhuli si Alan, si Ping ang nahuli. Di ba? Shouldn't he have the opportunity to go before the court and say, we might have the same DNA, baka magkamukha kami, but that's not me, that's my brother. So this is the most simple case I can think of. And some people will say na hindi na kailangan to kasi umalis na tayo sa ICC. But remember, Mr. President, so far, no, ang sabi ng ICC, basta't yung period na may jurisdiction pa sila. So kung bigla tayong may nakitang mass grave dito at pinagbintangan yung ibang leader ng ibang insurgency, pwede na lang silang damputin. Or for example, sa Marawi, what if someone shows the ICC certain footages na hindi kompleto at pinalabas ay may binomba na eskwelahan or ospital at crimes against humanity to or war crimes to? Will we not allow our generals to go to our court muna? I mean, that's one reason the United States and China, Russia have not ratified or have not joined the ICC because nga of the wartime actions of their military. But in our context, Mr. President, recently, even former Justice Secretary Aguirre was named dun sa co-conspirator. Ang lapit na ho sa presidente noon kasi alter ego na yon eh. So for example, no, and I hanga ako sa tao na to, no, but and there's no imputation of anything to him, but for example, Mr. President, Secretary Anyo is now our national security advisor, but he was the ILG during Marawi. I cannot see a situation where the ICC wants to arrest him and bigla na lang natin siyang isasakay sa plano without him being allowed to go to court, no, or to the Solgen to what you call this, to make representations in our local court. So, dun papunta, Mr. President, yung aking thinking sa resolution na to.
Yes. You mentioned mistaken identity because of some lookalikes, ano? And you also mentioned Vitaliano Aguirre. And I have a staff member who looks like Vitaliano Aguirre. He's here.
Oo naman.
Mr. President, Vince Dizon is also here.
So, talagang totoo yung sinasabi nyo. Kailangan talaga dumaan sa local court para man lang ma-authenticate yung real identity ng person who is subject of a warrant of arrest. No? And are you also familiar with Article 89 of the Rome Statute?
Not so much with Article 89.
Dito
Mr.
po,
President.
ganun din. Wala namang konflikto sa article kanina, sa 59, or what's that? Anyway, nakalagay dito, the court, meaning the international court, may transmit a request for the arrest and surrender of a person together with the material supporting the request outlined in Article 91, that's another article, to any state on the territory of which that person may be found, and shall request the cooperation of that state in the arrest and surrender. Anyway, minention din dito na state parties shall, in accordance with the provisions of this part and the procedure under their national law. No? When the national law that is referred to here is 9851, which I mentioned earlier, as I mentioned earlier, hindi naman po mandatory yung...
Sir President, I agree with the gentleman, Senate President Pro Temp, and I think it falls upon the Supreme Court to come out with its rules. Yung isang reason po nagbunsad sa akin na i-draft tong resolution na to, nung in-announce ng ICC na meron silang tinatawag na secret warrant of arrest. And I understand, kasi nga if you're dealing with war crimes or with genocide, Mr. President, and you're talking about dictators that have billions of dollars and can hide all around the world, you don't want to give them advance notice. But on the other hand, Mr. President, if you look at our Constitution, the person has the right to see the warrant and to be informed of the charges. And my interpretation is a local judge has to see that. So for me, there's no conflict if the Supreme Court has certain rules regarding that. No? So meaning, halimbawa po, Mr. President, pag dumating yung request dito, mapunta sa isang judge, he's not allowed to discuss it or announce it publicly until he issues the warrant of arrest and then an operation for the arrest. Ang point lang sa akin, Mr. President, before he is removed from this country, ma-redress niya pa rin yung sarili niya sa korte.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. And as I mentioned earlier, I fully support this Senate resolution, of course, subject to style,
Yes,
based
thank
on
you,
what
Mr.
we have agreed earlier. So that's all, Mr. President, and I will continue to support this resolution. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Mr. President, for that interpellation, and maybe we can look at the whereas clause that can be interpreted as political and not only subject to style but also in substance, so that this can be a bipartisan measure that will ensure the constitutional rights of all Filipinos. Thank you very much, Senator Lacson, for that interpellation.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Madam President, and to our dear colleague. Senator Cayetano, our Minority Floor Leader, I just got a text message. There's just some proposed amendments. There are no longer any more interpellations, so maybe we can close the period of interpellation. And on Monday, I believe the Senate President would like to propose amendments together with Senator Lacson and Senator Kiko Pangilinan as well.
Yes.
So if it's all right, we can close the period of interpellation. For
And
the
Mr.
moment.
President, our staff can also
Work together.
discuss so that we can consult everyone and reword it. I think it's a good day and a good opportunity to just clarify this. And may I just emphasize again, in the end, unless kasi we amend this Republic Act or come up with a new law, which will take time, it really falls, this is really a sense of the Senate. And I think one of the addresses will really be the Honorable Supreme Court. They did come out with rules for extradition. But I think there was a statement that it might not be applicable to rules of surrender under this RA. So maybe some clarity will come out of this. So again, thank you, Majority Leader, and to
Thank you.
our Madam Senate President.
So with that, Mr. President, Madam President, the status is that we are
After close,
after close.
may manifestation.
Monday pa tayo magko-close. Monday pa. Interpellation, yes. With that, Mr. President, Senator Bam Aquino pala wants to interpellate still on Monday, if that's all right, sir. Minority Floor Leader. I just got the message. He's not here. He's out of town. So with that, Mr. President, we move to recognize first before we suspend consideration, Senator Christopher Bongo.
The gentleman from Davao, Senator Bongo, is recognized to interpellate.
Mr. President, in relation to our effort to protect all Filipinos against extraordinary rendition, allow me to deliver a manifestation. Actually, it's not a interpellation.
To
Mr.
deliver a
President-
manifestation, the gentleman is recognized.
Mr. President, members of this august chamber, I rise to today to mark a date for many Filipinos will never be forgotten. Nagkataon rin po ngayong araw na ito, exactly March 11.
Yes, we just want to clear, Madam Sponsor. So my apologies to Senator Bongo not to how you say, disturb his manifestation. But maybe it might be proper to suspend consideration first of the measure, and then he can proceed with his manifestation. His manifestation is like a privileged speech, I believe. So it's not, is it a privileged speech, Mr.
No,
President?
it's related also to the topic being discussed.
On
right now.
107? Okay, we can proceed, Madam President. My apologies. He can be part of the records of this particular discussion on resolution number 207. My apologies, my apologies. You may go.
Please
Hindi stop.
proceed, Senator Go.
Go.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of this August Chamber, I rise today to mark a date that for many Filipinos will never be forgotten. Nagkataon rin po, exactly today, 1 year na po, no? March 11, 2025. Last year, on this very same day, was one of the saddest days in our history. It was a day when emotions ran high across our country. A day when millions watched in disbelief as former President Rodrigo Duterte was taken and brought in The Hague. Nakakalungkot po na alalahanin ang mga nangyari sa ating mahal na dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na nagsakripisyo at ibinigay ang lahat ng kanyang makakaya ayon sa batas, bunsod ng kanyang labis na pagmamahal sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga mahirap at ordinaryong Pilipino. Mr. President, for many of us, it was more than a headline. It was more than a political issue. It was a moment that stirred memories and deep questions about our history as Filipinos. For in that moment, we saw not just a former president, but a man who once carried the mandate of millions, a man who rose from his humble beginnings in Davao City and stood at the helm of this country. It is true, Mr. President, that there are moments that divide our opinions but unite our emotions. March 11 was one of those moments. Across homes, communities, and provinces, countless Filipino witnessed how someone they once entrusted with the highest office of the land was made to face prosecution and judgment far from his real home. Akalain ninyo, Mr. President, isang taon na pala ang lumipas. Ngunit parang kahapon lamang nangyari ang lahat sapagkat ngayong araw na to, hanggang ngayon po, ay ang kalungkutan at pangungulila ay nananatili pa rin sa puso ng marami nating mga kababayan. 1 year has passed, yet the emotions remain as vivid as ever. The pain, the questions, and the sense of loss are still felt by many Filipinos who remember that moment not merely as a political event, but as a deeply personal chapter in their lives. That is why, Mr. President, in times like this, we must pause and reflect on principles that go beyond personalities and politics. We must ensure that what happened to former President Duterte should never happen again to anyone. No Filipino, regardless of position, influence, or political affiliation, should ever feel that the legal processes meant to protect our people can be set aside or disregarded. Siguraduhin natin na hindi na maulit sa kahit sino man ang pagsasantabi ng mga legal na proseso. This issue is greater than any of us or any personality. What is at stake here is our sovereignty and judicial independence as a sovereign nation and the dignity of every Filipino. Kung ang isang dating pangulo ng ating bansa ay maaring tratuhin ng ganito, paano na lang po ang ordinaryong Pilipino? Nakakalungkot po, matanda na si Tatay Digong. In fact, yung picture na lumabas dyan na merong oxygen concentrator, totoo po yun. Panahon ng pandemya, bit-bit niya to parate kahit saan siya nag-travel. Alam naman natin na matapang siya at matatag siya, pero kitang-kita ko na rin ang kanyang iniinda. 71 years old na po siya ngayong March 28. At fragile na po siya. At maaring 81 na po siya. 81 years old na po siya sa March 28. Kumbaga harmless at fragile na po si Tatay Digong. Hindi na siya dapat ipinilit ilayo sa bansa. Hirap na po siyang maglakad. Nakasungkod na nga po siya. Maski pagtali ng sariling sintas, hindi na niya maabot. Lahat naman tayo ay tumatanda lahat tayo ay may minamahal na lolo, lola at tatay at mga kaibigang may edad na. Dapat po alagaan na lang po sila rito. Ang sakit na makita na yung taong binigay ang lahat para sa atin, ngayon ay mag-isa sa isang kwarto sa banyagang bansa. Sana muling magkaisa ang mga Pilipino. Sana matuldukan na ang pagkawatak-watak nating mga Pilipino. Imbis na umunlad, bigla tayong umurong. OFWs nga, pinapauwi natin. Noong panahon ni dating Pangulong Duterte, yung iba nagre-raise po ng funds para pambigay po doon sa blood money, no? Na para mapauwi lang po yung ating mga kababayang OFWs. Yun po yung ginagawa namin noon, na ginagawan po ng paraan na makauwi dito yung mga kababayan nating Pilipino. Pero baliktad po ang nangyari kay Tatay Digong. Bakit natin isinuko ang sariling nating lahi? Pilipino rin po si Tatay Digong, hindi dapat siya pinamimigay sa dayuhan. Mr. President, ang bawat Pilipino, mataas o mababa man ang katayuan sa buhay, saan man sa mundo, dapat may gobyernong masasandalan na hindi siya pababayaan. Former President man o hindi, karapatan yan, lalo na po pagdating sa kanyang kalusugan, kaligtasan at buhay. Mr. President, the world today is full of wars, bombings and mass killings. Walang kasiguraduhan ang bukas para sa lahat. We will never know what will happen tomorrow, and in times like this, let us take it as a call for Filipinos to come together. Let us stand as one, no matter our status, our color, or our political beliefs. Siguraduhin natin na ang bawat Pilipino, anuman ang kanyang estado, kulay at paniniwala, o kinabibilangan sa politika, ay protektado at nirerespeto po ng Estado. And today, wherever history ultimately places our former President Duterte, one thing remains undeniable. He became a defining figure in the lives of millions of Filipinos. Finally, Mr. President, I humbly ask for everyone's prayers for former President Rodrigo Duterte, prayers for his health, his safety, and his well-being. May he be protected, guided, and keep strong as he faces the days ahead. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, Madam President. Madam President, to allow Senator Bam to still pursue his interpellations and Senator Kiko on Monday, move to suspend consideration of the same. President, our distinguished Minority Floor Leader, to sponsor the measure, and our Senate President, Vicente Soto III, to propose amendments. But I believe he has a committee amendment, Mr. President, or his personal amendment.
The Minority Leader, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, is recognized.
Sir President,
And to introduce his amendments, the Senate President.
before that, Mr. President, isang committee amendment lang po.
Sige.
So, as discussed with Senator Lacson, our Senate President Pro Temp, in the last last week when we brought this up, the intention of everyone is to make sure of due process, to make sure our Constitution is followed. And good Senate President Pro Temp brought up the fact that if you search the word extraordinary rendition, may negative connotation. So in that respect, I'd like to propose that instead of extraordinary, we use extrajudicial. So the title will read, Resolution Expressing the Sense of the Senate of the Philippines to protect all Filipinos against extrajudicial rendition and guarantee them a reasonable time prior to their surrender by or extradition from the Philippines to seek redress from the courts and avail of legal remedies. In the same manner, Mr. President, if it could be a omnibus amendment, on page 2, lines 33 and 39, after comma, following the word whereas, delete the entire clause and replace with the following. The enforcement of arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court against former President Duterte and his subsequent surrender. We'll deal with that later, Mr. President, because we might delete the whole paragraph altogether. So just the title, Mr. President, instead of...
In that case, if I may suggest, Mr. President, that the distinguished gentleman, the minority leader, amend the
Title.
the resolutory portion.
Yes.
That is where it is contained, so that later we can go to the title, no? But what you were mentioning on...
Yes. Tama, Mr. President. So in the same manner, just change the word extraordinary to extrajudicial rendition.
All right.
So just the title and resolutory
Move.
at this point in time. Majority Leader, will you move or will I move? Yes. For the amendment?
Yes, Mr.
May I
President.
move
The
for the amendment?
resolutory portion muna.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President. So move on the amendment.
An objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Okay, now, Mr. President, if you don't mind.
Yes, please, Mr. President.
I have no problem at all with the resolution. I fully support it. As a matter of fact, I'm glad that you have changed a word or two in the resolutory portion and then hopefully later on in the title. My issue, if you don't mind, my esteemed minority leader, through you, of course, Mr. President, is 2 or 3 lines in the whereases.
Yes, Mr. President.
So that I was hoping that we could somehow temper 1 or 2 lines there that might be, in consonance with the Republic Act 9851. So in page 2, line 33, the entire whereas, and I don't understand you were thinking of doing that yourself later on, no? But if I may propose
Yes,
now,
Mr.
so
President.
the entire whereas,
33 to 39.
replace it with the following. And I think this will be in consonance with Republic Act 9851. I need not explain it anymore, Mr. President. So replace it with, whereas in 2025, a warrant of arrest issued by the International Criminal Court, ICC, in parentheses, were implemented to apprehend former President Rodrigo Duterte. If you will accept, Mr. President.
So with that line and then go to the next already.
Yes,
whereas.
and go to the next whereas.
I think that's fair, Mr. President, and fair and clear. Anyway, Mr. President, everyone has a stand on this issue at nasa Supreme Court naman. So I think just stating it factually the way the Senate President did, I think would be clear to everyone.
Yes, I hope so. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. If you're accepting, Mr. President.
An objection?
Objection.
Hearing none, amendments, the proposed amendment is
All right.
approved.
And 2 more, if you don't mind, Mr. President. For page 3, line 1 to 5, replace, remove lines 1 to 5 and replace it with, whereas Article 59, paragraph 2 of the Rome Statute states that a person arrested shall be brought promptly before the competent judicial authority in the custodial state, which shall determine in accordance with the law of that state. Of course, meaning the Philippines.
Agree, Mr. President, because it's logical with the former amendment in the former whereas clause. So I accept and agree.
An objection? Hearing none, approved.
And finally, Mr. President, still on page 3, a proposal to, I believe it does not really align with the subject of what we want in the resolution. So may I move that we remove lines 11 to 17, Mr. President. Remove the entire whereas, and that's it.
Because it may be redundant.
Yes, because we already said so in the lines 1 to 5 of page 3. That,
Well, Mr. President,
we should-
considering that my sponsorship speech mentioned this, and I just wanted it on the record that this resolution will be for everyone, no, including cabinet members or insurgents or military men that can be charged in the future for acts during the time we were under the Rome Statute. There'll be no harm to the resolution if we remove line 11 to line 17. So I'll accept the amendment, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Thank you. I have no more amendments, Mr. President, and I would be honored if the minority leader will make me a co-author of the resolution.
Mr. President, you are a principal sponsor also of this, as we agreed last time. But just to make sure that the title and the resolutory clause is aligned, Mr. President, will also change the title to extrajudicial rendition rather than, instead of extraordinary rendition, we will use the word extrajudicial.
Extrajudicial, yes.
That has been
I
approved
move if there's no
earlier.
objection.
Yes, we're now amending the title after the resolutory portion that was amended earlier.
Okay. Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Majority Leader, if there are no more amendments,
Session
Humbly-
suspended for 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's-
humbly ask that we pass the resolution.
Yes, Mr. President. We're just, I believe it'll just be a transfer of.
Tapos na ba?
Okay. Yes, Mr. President, with that, I move that we adopt proposed Senate Resolution number 307.
Subject to style.
Subject to style,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Resolution 307 is now adopted.
Mr. President, there are a few members who would like to just explain how their vote is to be counted. So we don't need to have a nominal vote. We just ask that those who want to vote abstention or are not in favor, maybe they can just raise their hands, Mr. President. Manifest.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized, and after
Yes,
Senator
Senator Risa,
Ontiveros,
Ontiveros
Senator Pangilinan.
wants to take the floor.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to explain my no vote to PSR number 307.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. This measure is framed as a defense of sovereignty and due process. Those are values I uphold. But sovereignty does not mean insulation from obligations we freely assumed under international law. And due process does not mean immunity from accountability, especially for such grave charges. Sa totoo lang po, nakakalito ang resolution dahil lahok-lahok ang mga legal concepts. Extraordinary rendition o extrajudicial rendition na synonymous sa isa't isa at talaga naman bawal. Extradition na may kanya-kanyang governing treaty. At ang totoong pinapatungkulan ng resolution na ito, which is a surrender to the ICC, following Section 17 of Republic Act 9851. Sabi ng resolution, two options daw ang nasa RA 9851, extradition o surrender. Pero hindi po extradition ang tamang proseso dahil according to international law at sa rules on extradition proceedings ng Korte Suprema, extradition is a formal, treaty-based process in which one state surrenders an accused or convicted person to another state to stand trial or serve a sentence. The ICC is not a state, so extradition could not have been an option. Hindi po namili ng mas mapangahas na option ng executive. Namili po siya ng angkop na option dahil extradition is an incorrect remedy. Precision matters, Mr. President. When we mislabel a legal process, we distort the constitutional analysis that follows. Our own Constitution incorporates generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land. The fight against impunity for crimes against humanity reflects a long-settled principle. Individuals may be held criminally responsible under international law for the gravest offenses known to humankind. Ang prinsipyong ito ay hindi lihis sa ating constitutional system. Ito ay nakapalaob nito. Ito ay nagpapayaman nito. Secondly, due process is not confined to a Philippine courtroom. Surrender to the ICC is not a deprivation of due process. It is the means by which due process is realized. The ICC provides for principles which ensure fair proceedings and ample opportunity to be heard. These include the right to counsel, the presumption of innocence, the ability to challenge jurisdiction, the ability to raise defenses, the ability to say that one is not fit to stand trial. Lahat nga po ito ay inavail ng dating Pangulong Duterte. The constitutional guarantee is due process, not exclusive domestic venue. Thirdly, while couched in general terms, this resolution arises from specific circumstances involving the former president. The rule of law requires that accountability mechanisms apply equally, regardless of rank. Ginawa po ang ICC para magkaroon ng espasyo ang mga biktima na hindi makakuha ng hustisya dahil estado ang kalaban, dahil makapangyarihan ang kalaban. They deserve due process too. I agree with the first sentence of the second to the last clause of the resolution. One person who was denied due process is one too many. Tama po. Ang hindi po binigyan ng pagkakataong magsalita, ipagtanggol ang sarili, humarap sa korte, magbigay ng kanilang panig at kumprontahin ang kanilang mga taga-usig ay tunay ngang kalunos-lunos. Noong mga taong 2016 to 2022, libo-libo po sila. I stand with them. I vote no to PSR number 307. Salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May we recognize
Senator Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Nais ko pong ipaliwanag ang aking no vote sa Senate Resolution 307. Noong panahon ng mga sponsorship speeches ng nasabing resolusyon, pinakinggan ko po ang ating mga kasamahan. Maraming mga legal na argumento ang isinusulong ng mga kasamahan po natin, tulad ng right to due process, ang issue ng national sovereignty, ng primacy ng local court systems natin sa International Criminal Court. Ang kapansin-pansin nga lang na sa lahat ng mga sponsorship speeches, walang nabanggit sa usaping hustisya para sa mga biktima ng extrajudicial killings. Mga libong namatay o pinatay sa Oplan double barrel ng nakaraang administrasyon. Noong nakaraang Oktubre, tinalakay ng Senado ang Resolution 144 na hiniling sa Senado sa ICC ang house arrest para sa dating Pangulo. Bumoto akong kontra sa nasabing resolusyon dahil sa aking paniwala na mas matimbang ang daing ng mga pamilya ng mga biktima ng extrajudicial killings na napatay o pinatay sa madugong drug war. Mas matimbang sa aking palagay ang isinisigaw na katarungan. Sa aking paniwala noon na tila ba nabaon sa limot at hindi nangyari ang nasabing pagpatay ng libo-libo nating mga kababayan. Karamihan mahihirap. Naalala ko tuloy ang sinabi mismo ng dating Secretary of Justice nung kapanahonang siya ay nakaupo bilang Secretary at ngayon Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla noong June 2025. And I quote, "Everything that could be erased was erased so that cases would not push through." Nung imbestigahan ng DOJ ang mga kasong pagpatay sa nasabing drug war. Bagamat ang paniwala ko bilang abogado na may maliwanag na basihan ang extraordinary o extrajudicial rendition, totoo, may mga question nga dito. Due process, legalidad nga ng nasabing extraordinary rendition. Totoo din na sa mga questioning usapin ng soberenya at sa kapangyarihan ng ating mga korte ang pagpasya sa mga posibleng na aresto ng ICC warrants. Ang totoo, may kaso sa Korte Suprema na nakabinbin. May petisyon sa Korte Suprema tungkol sa mga isyong ito. Ngunit wag sana nating isantabi na ang resolusyon na ito ay may kinalaman din sa katotohanan, dapat may kinalaman din sa katotohanan at pananagutan na siyang isinisigaw ng mga pamilya ng biktima ng extrajudicial killings. Usapin din ito ng hustisya para sa kanila. Ang napakapait na katotohanan din ay habang dinedebate sa resolusyon na ito tungkol sa due process at kapangyarihan ng ating mga lokal na korte na magpasya tungkol sa mga maaring maaresto sa bisa ng mga warrant ng ICC. Yung libo-libong pidatay sa ngalan ng Oplan Double Barrel na iyan ang paratang sa ICC case ngayon. Yung libo-libo na yun ay hindi nabigyan ng due process. Hindi na sila pinaabot sa korte, kundi diretso sila sa morgue. Bilang chairman ng Committee on Justice and Human Rights, ang boto ko ay para sa hustisya. Ang boto ko ay para sa mga naging biktima ng pag-abuso sa karapatang pantao. Ang boto ko ay no. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Moving forward, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of